This is the M4 iPad Pro. I've been using it for a little over a month and I have some thoughts. I'm João with Paperlike and today I'll tell you the good, the bad and the ugly about my 13-inch iPad Pro with Nano-texture display and the Apple Pencil Pro I bought with it. I know, this video comes a little late, but getting a Nano-texture display delivered to Portugal took a little longer than anticipated. And anticipating I was. I'm not gonna lie, I was very excited when this new line of iPads was announced, especially since it had been quite a while since we got our hands on new Apple tablets. Now, like for any Apple product, the unboxing experience is extremely satisfying. I chose the 13-inch in space black, which looks just amazing. The iPad comes with a matching charging cable, which I find is a little nice touch when compared with the all-white cables that came with previous models. That being said, I'm still a little bummed by the fact that there is no power adapter in the box. Without it, the product just feels incomplete to me, and I'm pretty sure that some of you, especially those for whom this is a first Apple product, will feel the same way. Now, once I grabbed it, two things struck me right off the bat. First, how thin it is. Even after reading a lot about the 5.1mm thickness, I was still amazed when I actually got to hold it. I mean, it's really thin. It's really like holding a solid glass plate with a metal cover, basically. But thin actually doesn't mean fragile at all. It actually feels surprisingly sturdy and solid when you hold it and actually try to bend it a little. The rest of its design feels pretty familiar. You've got the same nice aluminum finish as on previous models, with the same squared-edged look, USB port, and sound grills on the bottom. To be honest, I wasn't really expecting it to be this lightweight. I'm actually holding it right now on my left hand. I use it as a support where I have my notes, my script notes. And for a video like this, I should be holding it for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it doesn't feel heavy at all, which is pretty cool. This makes it extremely portable and super easy to carry around the house or on my travels. This 2024 iPad Pro also comes with Apple's new display. It's a new tandem OLED display, which means that there's two OLED screens stacked on top of each other, giving users a brighter display and unparalleled contrast and vivid colors. I actually tested it in store and it looks absolutely impressive. Now, I actually went another way and got myself a Nano-texture display instead. This new Apple display gives your iPad screen a matte finish that helps with light refraction, but I'll tell you more about this later in this video. Okay, it's feature-packed, it's thin, it feels great to hold, but how does it perform with my day-to-day use cases? Well, starting with media consumption, this thing is great. I mean, image quality is obviously top-notch, and thanks to its 4-speaker sound system, it also sounds surprisingly deep and clear independently of the orientation. And talking about orientation, up until now, my biggest pet peeve with iPads was the front camera, which was centered on a portrait mode. The front camera on this one now is centered in landscape mode and finally allows me to use the iPad for meetings, which is awesome. Look at this. And I have to say, like, the camera placement on previous models never really made sense to me, especially considering that cases and keyboards usually place your iPad in a landscape mode. The other big thing about these new iPads are the M4 chips. Actually, these are the only devices that are powered by M4 chips. And I have to say that this one performs really well. I mean, it makes activities like photo or video editing flow better. DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro run 4K files pretty efficiently. Now, is it really that different from an M2 chip on an iPad Pro? I'm not sure about it. To be honest, the processing power never really felt like something that was limiting me when actually doing something on the iPad. It's actually the OS and the lack of Pro apps that limit my activity on the iPad and not the hardware itself. So yeah, let's see what Apple comes up with in the next couple of years to actually turn this into something that takes full advantage of the M4 chips. Another thing I'm really on the fence on is the Nano-texture display. I was really curious to test it, and yes, it does the job. But considering it's only available on 1GB and 2GB iPads, I'm not entirely sure it's worth the extra investment. Especially when you have matte screen protectors like Paperlike that help with glare as well, but also emulate the sound and feel of paper on top of that. And hey, it protects your screen protector from scratches and smudges. Good news is that even after applying a Paperlike on top of it, it still looks crisp and significantly brighter than my 5th gen iPad Air, for example. Now, back to some positives, shall we? I actually went for a 13-inch display because I want to start using my iPad more and more as my only device, especially when I go on a workation, for example. And this is just perfect. I mean, it's light and slim, and all I need is a portable keyboard and a hub to plug in a charger, SD cards, and my SSD. The screen size allows for a much more comfortable mobile working setup, especially when comparing with the 10.9-inch iPad I was using up until now. When it comes to reading and handwriting, it's great as well. No need to zoom in and out as much anymore. And talking about writing, I just love the Apple Pencil Pro. For context, I consider myself a little as an Apple Pencil power user. Actually, I'm pretty sure I use the iPad much more with the Apple Pencil than without. And while the Apple Pencil Pro looks identical to its older brother or sister, well, you tell me, I guess, it actually comes packed with a lot of new features. You can now squeeze the barrel to bring up menus or features in different apps like Apple Notes, Good Notes, or Notability. This makes changing settings and brushes so much easier than before. You can also rotate it to get a different orientation of your Apple Pencil, just like you would with a regular fountain pen, for example. And when you pinch your device, it'll give you some haptic feedback, translating into a nice little tactile click. For someone like me who journals, takes a lot of notes, edits photos with the Apple Pencil Pro, I can't wait to see which features are still to come. The Apple Pencil Pro is a great product. The only negative about it is that it's not retro-compatible. It's only compatible with the 2024 iPad lineup, which is a bummer. Another topic I'd like to mention is the battery life. To be honest, I was expecting a lacking battery life, but it's actually pretty similar to what you'd get on previous models. If I'm not editing heavy files, the iPad gets by pretty easily on a normal workday. With more processing power and a reduced size when compared to its predecessors, I was expecting the battery life to be a little less competitive than it is, so thank you Apple for that. And this rounds up this video. These were my thoughts about using the M4 iPad Pro for just a little over a month. But what did I miss? If you have any questions or you want to know more about it, just let me know in the comments. And if you're just starting out note-taking on the iPad, you should definitely check out my latest video on that subject. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.